Are you Alfarius? Because I see myself in you. Anyway, today we're gonna be reacting to Warhammer 40k Every Faction Explained Part 2 by Bricky. So let's get started.
Hey all, this is part 2 in a 2-part series on the Warhammer races. If you haven't seen part 1 yet, we do the Imperium of Man. You can check that out in the description, and I would highly recommend you watch that to get context for this episode. If you already have, go ahead and keep on watching. So after an entire...
I already watched the first episode, so now it's time for the second. I wonder which in this series would you watch the Space Marines, because I technically watched that video first.
Episode of Nothing But Humans, we can now talk about chaos, which involves humans again.
Okay.
A little bit less. We also got demons and shit.
Whoa,
I just
birds?
felt someone grab my ass.
Oh my god, they have furries. Or would this be featheries?
What? Like hard, Nick.
So, as I've mentioned many times before, we've discussed the warp,
His
the
legs.
immaterium, the hellish landscape, the purgatory dimension realm between the material realm of our existence. Now, in the warp, it's terrifying, horrible. There are demons everywhere.
I literally can't get over the legs. Why are they so thick and like reflective and shiny? Oh, and the tail.
Are crazy. All your minds and thoughts and emotions get projected there. It is both formless and empty. It is vast and tiny. It obeys the laws of time and physics while simultaneously does absolutely nothing of the sort. It is a hodgepodge and a culmination of just unknowable, eldritch, horrifying shit. And there are 4 gods that permeate in chaos and the warp.
That's cool that they each have their own little color. Why do they each have their own little color? That's so cute.
These are the 4 major chaos gods.
Okay.
And if we wish to learn about chaos, we need to learn about...
Oh my god, the purple one. Hello, madame. I would love to freaking see what you're all about. Why do they make her like mega hot?
Each and every single one of these chaos gods. First up, we have Khorne, and he is the easiest. Khorne is your classic Satan. He is all about anger, murder, fighting, blood, guts.
I wonder if he likes Khorne the band. Because canonically, this is like in the future, right? So Khorne existed.
Death. You ever heard the term blood for the blood god, skulls for the skull throne? That's Khorne. The whole idea is that he is all about
wait, was I supposed to learn that term? Where did that term come from?
Fury and strength of battle. He doesn't care where blood comes from so long as blood is flowing. He wants to fight and murder and carnage and slaughter and death, 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 death. That is Khorne. Very simple to understand. Next up, you have Tzeentch, and Tzeentch is the god of change.
Dude, that does not, like, how do you get Tzeentch from this spelling? Is the T silent? Silent? What?
However, the god of change, it's permeates in so many different other ways. He's the most eldritch of all the demon gods. He has this weird way to always be plucking at the strings of the universe. He's always conniving and scheming and doing his best to cause as much little bullshit as he can.
He sounds like a freaking Dr. Seuss character, the Sneetches. You guys remember that book? 1 Sneetch, 2 Sneetch? The Starbelly Sneetches?
Tzeentch is unknowable. Everything that makes sense, he will and won't do. Every future and setting and every type of destiny or fate is all foretold and also changeable. It is set in stone while also completely random. He knows what everything is going to happen and also that none of it's going to happen. You would ask Tzeentch a question. That question leads to 3 more questions. And those questions lead to the heat death of the universe, which asks 4 answers to those questions. And then he thinks to himself, what are questions even really? And are you even asking the questions, or are you simply giving paths to answers and other horse shit? Tzeentch is just...
Okay, so he's like a giant fence-sitting troll that says whenever people bring him real questions and real things to investigate, he goes, well, what is life anyway? Tzeentch.
I'm gonna fuck with stuff. He is yes and he is no. He is the understanding and he is complexity. He is unknowable. And that's what the god
If he could put his relationship status on Facebook, he would put, "It's complicated." But what is complicated anyway?
change is about. Very bizarre. And he likes birds a lot. I don't know why.
Oh my god, you know what this reminds me of? The blue avians. If you haven't ever watched the video about them, please watch a video about them. They are so crazy. They're like this whole different religion or something. I don't even understand. It makes me feel crazy learning about them, but they're really funny.
Next up, we got Papa.
Papa.
Nurgle. Papa Nurgle, he loves you for who you are. Probably not. He will murder you just the same. But Papa Nurgle is about rot, pestilence, death, and decay. He is the end of everything. Him and Zeech do not like each other very much because where Zeech represents change and adjustment, Nurgle represents stagnation and death. He is all about miasma and pestilence and large bloat and pus and organs and people just being sedentary, sloth.
I was gonna ask, if he is about death and decay, why is he so fat? Because I feel like if I would associated death and decay with like a very slender, like skeletal type figure. So it's very interesting that he's like almost like a sludge of like disgusting blob.
He is the idea that everything will rot and decay and die. Nothing is certain besides decay and death. All of us will end up the same way and broken down through just...
Okay, now he just made the legs green. Why are they green now?
Sheer, never-ending decomposition. So the joke that Nurgle always loves you is generally because of that, because we all end up the same. We all rot, and we all die.
Wait, that's kind of cute.
That's Nurgle, and he's got a general theme of course, pestilence and different kinds of diseases and sickness and things of that nature. That's generally Nurgle. He's pretty easy to understand as well.
Okay.
He chunk. Finally, we
chunk.
have the youngest of the Chaos Gods.
Why did you censor it? I like how he's censoring his own nipples to be like, I guess, egalitarianism. But oh my gosh, man, why can't we see it?
And that is Slaanesh, also
and
known
the
as
navel?
the Prince of Pleasure or the God of Unspeakable Excess. Slaanesh is generally referred to with sex, but it's not only sex, it's just that's a good avenue if you want to make stuff.
Yeah.
Slaanesh is just the idea of the senses of the body being cranked to not just 11, but more like 17.
Wait,
So
do they even have like sex in this universe? It seems like all they have is death and destruction. Doesn't even seem like they reproduce at all. They just like create humans out of like machines and pods.
Discuss Slaanesh a little bit more when we talk about the Eldar because they done fucked up, but it or whatever is mainly about just the excess of emotions, and therefore sex is generally a large part of it. However, it's mostly pain and torture.
Wait, what the heck, girl? So they don't even think about like sexy times. They just make it seem really weird and sad. Man, I still would.
Lots of pain, torture, but sometimes sexually related or drug related. Lots of drugs. Lots of drugs. Slaanesh gets off on everything. Extremes in happiness, extremes in sadness, extremes in pain.
Wait, but I have a question. Did he also say that she can also go by he? So it's like gender fluid type deity god?
Pain and sadism and masochism, and of course that goes along with the sex part of it as well. It's generally referred to with sex because of the color scheme, very purple, lots of exposed genitalia. A lot of their models have like exposed nipples and stuff.
Yeah.
And that is generally the theme you go for from a physical side, but it really embodies everything, mainly pain and also the excessive amounts of emotion. So when it comes down to it, you'll find a lot of them have things like spikes or whips or any kind of BDSM style gear because it is unspeakable excess, the Prince of Pleasure, everything in excess to the point where it is just sheer frightening. That is Slaanesh in a nutshell. A little bit bizarre.
Only frightening if you're weak. Clearly some people can't take it.
are and a little hard to describe sometimes, but as we talk more about the Dark Eldar layer in this video, you'll understand it far, far better and far more than you'd want to. Now, you might be thinking, why would anyone ever want to join Chaos? They all look horrifying, screwed up, and just frightening things, right?
Okay, well, I can definitely tell you why I would want to join the Purple Chaos. Like, it speaks for itself. And also, people now in this world join the Red Chaos, so like regular, you know, so to speak, devil of today.
Well, the thing is that, of course, one, your mind is put into the warp and the immaterium, so you can be easily swayed by chaos demons when they get into your head, especially if you're a psyker. Sometimes regiments of the less mentally strong people, whether they be civilians or, say, low-level guardsmen or conscripts, can be easily swayed by this and become chaos cultists and stuff, and they serve their dark gods and whatever god they personally refer.
Interesting.
However, and this might seem strange, chaos in their own right isn't necessarily evil. See, the warp is every manifestation of emotion and being, every soul, everything of existence. This includes all the good things. All the different chaos gods have another side to their coin. Korn might be death, murder, slaughter, slaughter, but he's also got this weird sense of survival of the fittest, trial by combat, and honor. Korn will never lie to you. Korn will never stab you in the back. Korn isn't about conniving and scheming. Korn is about straight up mano-y-mano, you versus me, get in the ring, we're gonna murder each other hard, right?
Okay, I could totally see the appeal of that. And you don't have to worry about being backstabbed in a world where everyone's like fighting and backstabbing each other. You just have to be strong. That is really, I can get it now. That's really, really appealing in that type of world.
Right now. It may not be a good thing at the end of the day, but it is that other side of the coin. Him and Zeech generally don't get along because Zeech is that conniving schemer, but he's also about the idea of hope. Where there is change, there is change for your predicament. There is change for your problem. The hope of the galaxy, the ability to bend the world to your will, the idea that your fate is not set in stone, but in reality that you control your own destiny and can control it whenever you want, the changer of ways. That is Zeech. And of course, Zeech and Nurgle hate each other because while Nurgle does represent stagnation, death, and decay, he also represents finality and ending. The fact that you can be mentally at peace knowing that you will end and how you will end. Fear of the...
I never got that. Sometimes it just stresses me out more thinking about like ending and dying than it does bringing me at peace, I guess. But maybe because they're in such a war-ridden world and there's a lot of like pain and agony and, you know, death, that they see it as like a peaceful thing that you would die rather than get tortured forever.
Unknown fear of change is not present with Nurgle. With Nurgle, everything will rot and die, and that provides that finality, that ability that this is over. We are all the same, and we will all end the same. We know the meaning of life. The meaning of life is to live and die and rot. And with that, it brings peace of mind. Slaanesh is a lot more simple. While they are the excess of emotion, they are also the representation of emotion. Slaanesh embodies happiness.
They're not even censoring the right thing. Look at that. What are they? What is that? What are they censoring? Holy moly!
Slaanesh embodies excitement and joy and pleasure, not only in the sense of the physical, you know, bam style of pleasure, but also everything else like food and drink and air on your cheek and sunlight, the feeling, emotion and feeling. All of that is also represented with Slaanesh. So, you have to ask, why are they always represented as super evil skulls and spikes on everything and want to murder everybody? I don't really got an answer for you on that one.
It's because it's a video game meant for, or sorry, a tabletop game meant for boy. And boy don't want to be like Barbie girl, whatever, at least back then.
My assumption is that because mentally humans may think worse thoughts, even if we don't act on them, and therefore they're projected in the warp more. That one's a little bit weird. I don't know. This is me spitballing right now, but I don't know. You need a super bad guy. You already got the Imperium of Man. You need somebody to be a little bit worse than them.
Yeah.
So you got demons. Honestly, who cares? I just want to buy like a bird magician. Look at him.
The blue aliens.
So cool. So combining all this together, on the tabletop, Chaos Demons are generally very melee-based. They run in, go really hard. You have lots of summoning and conjuring, tons of spells.
Okay.
Generally a little bit frail, but they have special saves to make them a little bit stronger. You've
Wow.
got giant demons and smaller demons. You got hordes of little boys
Really?
and tons of big guys.
Whoa.
Demons are as they seem. Demons. Nurgle is slow. Korn is super scary in melee.
Okay.
You've got Zeech, who are far more into psychers and spellcasting, and then Slanesh, who is all melee, really.
Oh my god, the Slanesh figures. Holy, sign me up, I'm here. And the pink flag, oh my god.
Really fast, but squishy, but in lots of hordes of tons of melee and pain damage, of course. So overall, the demons are a huge part of 40K and a massive threat to almost every single faction, with the exception of a couple.
Okay.
However, the big part about demons is also transferred into the other 9 Primarchs we didn't talk about, which are the Chaos Space Marines.
Oh yeah, the Space Marines. I think we already learned about those. Or the 40K ones?
So Horse.
Wait, sorry. To pause this for a second, I wonder, because there's so many different factions already and we still haven't learned them all, I wonder how you're able to balance the game on tabletop. Like, wouldn't there be some sort of meta game where if you play this one faction, you pretty much can like kill other factions relatively easily? You know, like some sort of weird build where you're always gonna win?
And all of his boys, all of them in the Primarchs, they have all also become Chaos Boys, and they all have their own special Chaos Legions, specializing in so many different things, just like the Adeptus Astartes, the Angels of Death, the regular Space Marines. Chaos Space Marines aren't a whole lot different than the regular Space Marines. They have the same armor, generally the same training and toughness. They just specialize in different kinds of things. And also a lot of the Primarchs have ascended into greater is it greater demons? They're demon Primarchs at this point. Gigantic, horrifying.
Okay, since they're demon Primarchs, that means then they subscribe to one of the 4 like crazy people chaos gods?
And demon hybrids that are pretty awesome, if I'm going to be honest. They look really cool. But them and their associated legions that they are a part of are all kind of going out there and causing a large ruckus for everyone else. Considering the raw strength and firepower of a legion of Space Marines, imagine that entire legion just converting to chaos and immediately fighting you. It's generally pretty horrifying.
Yeah, that is
horrifying. So I gotta
horrifying.
write them down. But you've got the Emperor's Children with Primarch Fulgrim, loyal to Slanesh. These people, they are some...
Wait, have they made... I know they've made Space Marine video games, but have they made the Demon Space Marine video games? That seems like it would be a really cool concept. They could make it some sort of like eldritch horror game.
Messed up people. They're just sensory overload, tons of drugs, tons of torture.
Wow.
And I think Fulgrim is a demon Primarch right now.
Okay.
And oh god, I am terrified to see what that man looks like.
Whoa.
At least on the tabletop, because Emperor's Children are not good people. You've got the
no.
Iron Warriors, which are kind of like opposite of the Imperial Fists, with Primarch Perturabo, I believe is his name. They're Chaos Undivided. They just kind of serve chaos in a general aspect instead of choosing one of the 4. But the Iron Warriors are big on the siege and fortification, and they're basically entirely against the Imperial Fists and are a major rival.
Cool.
Perturabo, I believe, is also still alive, and I'm also very interested to see what he looks like.
Well, this guy looks like a lion. Wait, what is he saying? He thinks he's curious to see what they look like. Does that mean they don't have a tabletop version of them yet? Because he's not showing any pictures of tabletop painted figures.
Demon Primarchs are badass. You've got the Night Lords with Primarch Conrad Kurz. Conrad Kurz is dead, which is good because he's a sick fuck. But the Night Lords are generally about terrorizing people and terrorism. They're generally about fear, and rightly so. You've got the World Eaters with Primarch.
Imagine your whole thing being about terrorism. Like, why? Why are you doing terrorism? I don't know. It's just our thing. We're about terrorism.
Angron, still alive, also excited to see. Angron, if you think you've known an angry person, Angron is the angriest son of a bitch you will ever know.
Really?
Angron removed parts of his brain that didn't make him angry, so he could be angrier.
What?
Angron. Fucker's mad. You've got the Death Guard with Primarch Mortarion. They actually have their own special codex and their own major army on tabletop. Mortarion himself.
Wait, what is a codex? I'm not familiar with the term. Whoa, look at these wings. They're like angelic, like biblically accurate with the eyes in the middle of the wings.
Actually one of the models, and look at him. Look at him. It's so cool looking. Of course, Nurgle based, obviously. So very slow, but very tanky. You've got the word bearers with Primarch Lorgar. Lorgar is, I believe, still alive. I don't know what's up with him at the current moment, but the word bearers are generally the people who caused all the major problems in the beginning. At least I blame them for it. They're little assholes. You got the
In the
Black Legion
beginning? Wait, so that's how it all started? These guys messed people up in the beginning? The Fire Nation attacked.
Primarch Horus. Get fucked, nerd. You've got the Alpha Legion with Primarch Alfarius Omegon.
Whoa.
Chaos, I think. And then finally, you've got the Thousand Sons with Primarch Magnus the Nerd. The
Okay.
Thousand Sons also have their own book, just like the Death Guard. Magnus is also a tabletop model. He looks super.
Holy crap! I love the ombre into the purple hand, but it's a pink guy. Look at that, even the feet are like a deep purple. Holy crap, and look at these little guys, the little blue guys. They're like, oh my gosh, this guy is sick. I love him.
Super cool, as you can tell, and they're all super heavily Psyker and kind of Egyptian themed. They look pretty neat. But overall, with all of these Chaos Space Marine factions, you can play as a lot of different ones, but the main ones that you can really work at are standard Space Marines, Chaos Space Marines, as well as the Death Guard and Thousand Sons, as they are the most fleshed out, especially on the tabletop at least.
Okay.
See this right here? This is a really good way to describe the Chaos Space Marines.
Okay.
What the thick-headed fools with their broken corpse of an emperor fail to understand is that not only can they never defeat us, but they cannot hide or flee or shield themselves from the triumph of chaos. They are finite and we are unbound, undivided. They must not err, or they shall fall to heresy. All who fall join our cause. Every imperial fool who dares to open his eyes is a willing recruit. They strive merely to hold back our fury and might, and it consumes them.
Oh my
Thus,
god.
you can see chaos is inevitable. We lurk not only beyond their grasp and at their gates, we lurk within the darkness of their souls, on the tip of their tongues, in their tortured dreams.
This kind of reminds me of that one mode in Halo where you have the people that are infected and the funny little sword, and then all the other guys that are human, I guess. And they slowly infect everyone until everyone is infected. And then I guess they go on and try to infect other people. Like, it's so weird.
We are them, but freed from the shackles of ignorance. We are them, grown strong, evolved. We are them, but so much more.
Whoa.
As hardcore as that quote is, the saddest part is they're mostly right. Chaos is basically unkillable. You could probably get rid of Space Marines a decent amount, the Chaos Space Marines.
Dude, everything's unkillable. Every single faction is like so OP, then like how does anyone win? If everything can't be killed, what?
That is, but every soul that dies goes to the warp. Every Chaos soul will end up back in the warp.
Okay.
And depending on how hard you killed them, they will come back at some point. Every demon...
What does he mean depending on how hard you killed them? Like if you kill them really hard, then they don't come back for a while? I'm gonna kill you really hard, man. You're not gonna come back for at least 5 years.
You banish will return at some point. Chaos is unstoppable. The warp is unending. And while maybe there is at some point some way to stop them somehow, the resources to do so, the requirements to do so, are so far beyond the reaches of man and the other races at the current moment that really it's just an unstoppable force that just keeps on coming.
Wow.
And it's just barely being slowed. Chaos is by far the biggest threat. They are...
So like everything else? Literally like every single other thing else. Also, I love the pink lightning and the freaking teal blue armor. This is so girly coded. I love it.
Without number, their legions are everywhere, and yeah, they're pretty scary. So, I promise, we're done with humans now. Let's talk about some Xenos.
Okay. The Eldar. Ooh, she's like an elf girl.
So let's talk about the Eldar, or also known as the Eldari, which are a super hyper-specialized and very technologically advanced race of, well, elf people. They were as well
They're elf.
responsible for the creation of Slaanesh. the newest demon god. How'd
Okay.
they do that? Debauchery.
Wait, so Slanesh is a new demon god? They weren't just all born at the same time? That's so interesting.
On a world-ending scale.
Mhm.
So back in the day, it was just Khorne, Tzeentch, and Nurgle. And
Oh,
the
okay, he's
Eldar
gonna
are
explain it.
very, very ancient. Millions of years. These Eldar, however, have a bit of a sensory problem. You know, every kind of pain or feeling that you have is a little bit amplified compared to the normal. However, with Eldar, as their race advanced so excessively, and they became so self-reliant, and everything became so easy, there was no requirement for food production anymore. There was no shortages.
Whoa.
Everything was basically done. Everyone was so comfortable. And that comfort breeded this weird sedation. And that sedation breeded the requirement for more and more debauchery.
Ooh. That's like the freaking angle that we're going towards. Where we got TikTok and we got freaking lazy boys and we got unlimited entertainment no matter where we go or what we do in the internet. We gotta think of more ways to be debaucherous.
Debauchery! When everything you have can be so easily acquired, you will end up down this road of pure debauchery. All of the senses the Eldar had that were so powerful, things like feeling, happiness, sadness, and just evil and good, all needed to be satisfied and satiated. And the desire to satiate these senses grew more and more with worse and worse debauchery. It started off with things like
that's definitely gotta be like, you know the movie The Purge? It's where all those like rich people, they like gather a bunch of like randos and then they make them fight to the death. And they sell like tickets and stuff for you to be able to watch it. Or yeah, like Hunger Games too. Like people just start getting real freaky whenever they have unlimited money and time and resources.
And drugs becoming so much more rampant because these are the first things you generally turn to when requirements for living are so easily accessible. It would get to the point that made Sander Cohen in BioShock look sane. All right, this is the kind of debauchery it led to. It was
I haven't played BioShock. What is his story?
Constantly satisfying and satiating these sexual and sadistic or masochistic fantasies.
I like how it's just this one hot lady on the top right, and then all these guys chained and putting their hands above their heads. Don't save them. They know exactly where they are and they want to be there.
That only elevated, and this was species wide. People started going down darker, more depressed.
What the heck? That looks like the Joker, but if the Joker was an elf. The smile especially.
Depraved and more violent paths as time went on. However, some people didn't entirely take to that. Some of the Eldar were looking at this depraved species that they had become and said, no thanks for me, dog, I'm good. And they bailed. These are the Craft World Eldar. They left on these giant continent-sized starships.
They got Minecraft in Warhammer? No way.
Called Craft Worlds. They believed in learning the old ways of the Eldar and pushing away from this depravity and debauchery and going back to their main roots. And so they would segment themselves on these giant craft worlds far in the outer reaches of space. They even had this thing called the Webway. Remember what we mentioned about warp travel with the Imperium? Well, the Eldar had something way safer called a Webway. And the Eldar Webway is actually like a pocket dimension kind of thing. And in that pocket dimension, there were also more horrible, depraved groups and clans that would spend their time in there. And if you imagine the debauchery was bad already, these were debauchery X10.
Oh my God.
All of this continued.
Just when you think it's like really bad, it gets so much worse. What the freak?
And it continued and it bloated until Slanesh just burst forth. All that emotion, all that mental, thought processes, I suppose, all of this in such a condensed space. Don't forget, this is all being shot, all their souls as well, into the warp. All this depravity right into the warp. So what happened? Boom. Slanesh was birthed.
Whoa, that is so cool. They literally created a womb in which the god of chaos and pleasure was born from. That is so cool. I like that origin story a lot.
and killed off 90% of the entire Eldar population. Untold trillions
Wow.
had their souls ripped from their bodies and their actual fleshy bodies devoured by Slaanesh
I wonder how much time it would take to count to 1 trillion. Like, do you think you could do that in your lifetime?
demons. The entirety of the Eldar race was eaten alive and their souls consumed to the Prince of Pleasure.
6, 7.
All of them got fucked up. It was so bad that it literally ripped a warp hole into the fabric of the materium called the Eye of Terror.
Oh
That's
my God.
literally this like quasi horrifying gateway portal from the materium and the immaterium right next to Cadia.
Holy crap.
And it is horrifying.
Wait, why is he
so
sad?
this Slaanesh, also known as
Whoa! Wait, look at this guy. He looks like he's got a little, like, pattern of Joker stuff. Wow, these guys are sick. Who are they?
who thirsts by the Eldar slaughtered the entire population except for a couple. Those in the craft worlds were actually not affected by this as they were so far in the reaches of the galaxy. That crazy crack, that birth of Slaanesh only affected the ones in the center.
Oh,
so
I
these
see.
craft world Eldar were able to escape, but Slaanesh got their sights on them.
Uh-oh.
Every time an Eldar will die, their soul doesn't just pass into the warp naturally. It goes straight to Slaanesh, craft world or not. What about those people in the webway? Well, imagine that giant birth happening, but they were only able to just barely get a grasp onto you. Slaanesh was just barely able to hold on.
Wait, so these people probably have, if I had to guess, these people probably were like messed up, like similar to a radiation. Like they got a little bit irradiated.
People are the Dark Eldar, or also known as the Drukhari. The
Ooh.
Eldar population right now is so massively small. It is minuscule compared to any of the other most of the other populations in the universe. The Eldar are consistently having issues.
Who's that? That looks like Millennia from Elden Ring. That is so cool. I love her outfit.
Trying to get their population up because as their souls are constantly being hungered by from Slaanesh, they realize their entire species is doomed.
No.
And they understand it very well. Since the time of the fall, our race has been haunted by what we, in our reckless pursuit of hedonistic indulgence, gave birth to.
No.
Though our dreams once overturned worlds and quenched suns, we are now but fitful shadows clinging to the edge of existence. All the stars in the sky cannot blot out the hateful glare of the red moon's eye. The birthing place of the great enemy pulses with all the malice of a demon that is dreaming, casting its shadow over all we have ever done and all we ever shall.
It's kind of weird though that she or they, the demon, the chaos demon, would hate the people that gave birth to them and want to like destroy them because they gave birth to them. Maybe they're threatened by them somehow.
Twisted strand of fate and casting of the runes leads me to this time, to this place, and it is clear that the final battle awaits me at the ancient Crone worlds, a conflict the likes of which has not been seen since the Monkai warred amongst themselves and their corpse of a seer fell to his traitorous son. Is coming, and all my steps lead towards it, no matter that I walk other paths. I see the stars stained red with the blood of the Monkai, and though their wars do not concern me, I would gladly let them destroy one another. I know that to avoid this fight is to condemn my race to inevitable doom, and though all I see is darkness, I know that I will not flinch from my destiny.
Dang.
And now let's talk about cute plastic models.
Bro, I'm straight up not having a good time.
The first playable race we have for the Eldar are the Craft World Eldar and living in those Craft World starships I mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
And each of them have their own kind of Craft World, almost like a Space Marine Legion. Each Craft World is in itself.
I like their big like little gems on their head. They're like cute bulbs right there, right there.
Its own special
They're so tacky.
kind of group. And the Eldar themselves are very fast and rely a lot on trickery. They are squishy, a bit weak, but they're very in tune as psychers. Tons of psychers across the entire Eldar population. And their weaponry and abilities are fast and extremely hard hitting, but of course rather fragile. Understanding an
No.
Eldar's brain is an exercise in futility. They are all over the place in confusion and trickery on a whole galactic scale. They fight
They're
weird,
little cone heads. Who you calling conehead?
they think weirder, and Eldar, in their own right, really rely on this to keep their species alive. They need to think about deception and the strangeness of what they do if they truly want to not be immediately murdered and slaughtered wholesale,
true.
thanks to their entirely small population.
So they're
However, I
smart.
must say that it seems like their population is getting slightly better. These craft worlds hold millions upon millions of people. And
Okay.
as they continually, reproduce and have their craft worlds expand, losing a few people in battle, while hurts a lot, they aren't really losing what's extremely precious to them. It's not like every single death.
How do they reproduce? Do they reproduce like humans or differently? Because these are a different species. I guess they're, they come from a very debaucherous time in their life, so I'm sure they got a few different ideas.
Means the death of their species. It seems like they're kind of on the upturn a little bit. They're still a doomed race being sucked into Slaanesh every time someone dies, but they are definitely doing a little bit better than they were before.
Yeah.
Eldar are fast, cunning, and what they don't make up for in tankiness, they make up for in extremely advanced weaponry.
Wow.
They also call humans Monkai, which is something I mentioned earlier.
Monkai.
That is a
Monkey?
derogatory slur for humans in the
Oh my god, I'm so sorry. Wait, in the game?
Warhammer world.
Oh, okay, okay.
Why is it called Monkai? Well, it's because you can't, in your game, call people monkeys.
Oh.
On the tabletop, exactly what I said. Not very tanky, generally pretty squishy, hit like trucks, and move at Mach 5.
This looks like, those guys looked like Bumblebee from Transformers.
Fast, hit hard, die fast. Exactly how it sounds. They've been good for a very long time, too. We bring only death and leave only carry-on. It is a message even
Wait, like a carry-on for a flight?
a human can understand. Eldar. So, Drukhari.
Whoa!
Let's talk about the Dark Eldar.
Holy Tommy, what the freak? What's going on here? She looks hot.
On today's episode of How Fucked Up is Fucked Up.
Oh.
That's fucked up.
So those people I mentioned in the webway, in the super deranged cults and the depraved people of the Eldar,
Yeah.
in the webway, they didn't quite get a hold onto them.
Oh,
Slaanesh,
really?
has them, but it has them on by the pinky finger. And they're slowly being consumed by Slaanesh, but they found out they can stave her off by doing Slaanesh things. The Dark Eldar are by far the worst, most horrifying, disgusting, depraved, and brutal race in all of Warhammer 40k. These are entirely a group of people whose full purpose to save their species from extinction, to go into planets, raid them, and take as many slaves as they possibly can to torture them for 1, 5, 10, 20, a million years, because that torture will keep them from dying. They look very...
Oh my god, so they literally just take them to torture them? I mean, hey, there's much more ways to go. Rather than being tortured by a hot girl, I don't know. In the universe of Warhammer, I mean, beggars can't be choosers.
BDSM style too. They definitely have a lot more spiky bits and they have a lot more of that kind of leathery black look to them. But let's say you are an upstanding Imperial citizen living life on a regular planet. You get invaded by the Necrons. The Necrons will shoot you with a deatomizer and you will be destroyed in a millisecond, and that's it.
Yeah.
Not the worst way to go.
Oh.
You are invaded by Chaos Marines or something.
Okay.
You take a bolter shot to the head or a chain sword across your stomach and you get cut in half.
Yeah.
Painful, but not the worst. The Orcs arrive. They beat you to death. Hurts, but, whatever. Tyranids, they eat you alive. It's pretty rough. The Dark
He needs to have a moment before he continues on.
Eldar. The Dark Eldar. This is going to get a little graphic.
What the heck? What is this? He's got a little onesie on. Or what was that? What is that called? Like a Speedo?
Guys, you pray you die. You don't. You are instead taken as a human slave. Your life will be endless work and agony, 24/7. They will make sure you can't not die, as your pain satisfies them. They will hook
Oh.
you up to all manner of torture devices. They will inject pain-based like stimuli drugs directly into your nervous system. They will slowly run razor blades across your skin. They will fillet you and just pull out your teeth and your fingernails one by one. They will remove your appendages and your skin and wait for it to grow back so they can do it again. They will murder and torture and use the R word, it rhymes with grape, your entire family.
What? No. That is kind of scary. I'm not gonna lie. Maybe I spoke too soon.
In front of you and do the exact same thing to them. You yourself will also be rhymes with grape anywhere and everywhere possible. And this will occur for 20 years until you are no longer satisfying to them. And then you will be contorted, crushed, and twisted into some form of trophy, a fleshy trophy, or a ring, or a couch, or a TV stand, or perhaps a wonderful hat, while you are, of course, still alive and breathing.
How would they be able to do that if you're still alive? Maybe they have technology to keep you alive? I'm pretty sure you would die at one point.
You will become a moaning, fleshy trophy for eternity.
Wow.
And that is what happens when
Okay, but my one question is, who gets to sit on me? If I'm a couch, will one of those like hot girls sit on me? Cause I don't know. Like they can't be all bad.
you are taken by the Dark Eldar. They are the most depraved, most horrifying race in all of 40k. They look the part, and they do it so they all don't die. They are literally forced to do this, because if they don't, Slaanesh's grip will get harder, and they will have their souls pulled away. So long as they
Yeah, good choice of words. What the heck? Get harder?
keep doing this, Slaanesh is like, "You're doing good, man. You're doing solid. You keep that shit up, you elf-eared bastards." That's the Dark Eldar. That's the Drukhari.
Wow.
They are horrible. On the tabletop, they're actually kind of like Eldar, but more extreme. They are even squishier than the Eldar, but they hit generally even harder.
Wow.
Fast attacks, skirmishers, really quick, speedy, like get around them, do a lot of damage.
Whoa, are these real ships? You can play with ships on tabletop? That is so cool. Whoever painted this is awesome, because it looks like actual rust and stuff.
Get away kind of stuff. That's most of the Dark Eldar. Look up the definition of grim dark in a dictionary. You'll find a picture of the Dark Eldar. And Sev from Republic Commando. A quote from Mr. Vecht. "We are the lords of despair, masters of terror. Dread and agony are our meat and wine, and they are plentiful indeed."
Wow.
Dark Eldar. Let's talk about the Harlequins. Clowns.
Let's go! Let's go! Let's go! Sorry, I got so excited. Oh my god!
Let's go!
They're literally called Harley Quinns and they're a clown faction? I'm so ready. I'm locking in. I got my notebook out. I'm ready to freaking take notes.
The Harlequins are a bizarre
go.
race of
I
Eldar.
like his pants. What do you mean they're bizarre? They're awesome.
They're demonic clown performers. They're like a weird mix of Sander Cohen from BioShock and Jin from League of Legends, but in a more clown theme. They're
I don't know either of those people.
artists of death and perfecters of their craft. They do not belong to Craft Worlds or any of the weird Drukhari people. They guard something called the Black Library, which is this giant tome of never-ending knowledge deep in the heart of the Eldar Webway, and also guarded by their god named Kegarok, I believe is how you pronounce his name. He is the laughing god, but it's the
Sounds like a
Eldar's
good god.
laughing god? And these are the Harlequins, the Harlequin clowns. These are Eldar clowns, okay? So imagine the things that an Eldar, these depraved individuals, would find funny. And this is the god of that.
Probably like your mom jokes, tripping people, maybe like funny cat videos.
It's a horror clown. These are gods of horror for us normal people. For them, they're like, oh, it's so funny. They're all dying horribly.
Wow.
Honk, honk. They're very bizarre and difficult to describe. They've escaped the ruinous powers of Slaanesh somehow, but their main thing is guarding that Black Library. And the Harlequins just, They're demon clown performers. They're barely any
Whoa,
models.
look at the models. Oh my gosh, I love this checkerboard diamond pattern. And the color scheme is so cool. The reds, purples, and blues. Oh my goodness. I would definitely play with this faction. 100%.
Tabletop. They're good in melee. They're demon clowns. I'm not sure. I got a quote.
I wonder what's in the Black Library that they're trying to protect. It doesn't make any sense why they would be protecting a library or like where they came from.
Too easy for an Eldar to embrace the obscene virtues of chaos. For Slaanesh is nothing more than
What if they're trying to protect a joke book? That would be really funny, actually.
manifestation of the Eldar mind in its most wild and unconstrained form. Human morality is meaningless to the Eldar, and to the dark side of the Eldar mind, all life is to be expended at a whim. Cruelty and generosity are but the impulse of a moment. Beauty and sensuality are virtues that can be expressed in bloodshed just as easily as in song. To an unfettered Eldar mind, there is neither sanity nor madness, but merely a wave of perfect existence fulfilled by its own savage momentum. They're very strange.
That's so poetic, though. If you think about it, that's so awesome. They don't discriminate. They're not like, oh, we're not here to just kill people to kill people. We're here to have a good time. We're here to make art. We're here to just fulfill, I guess that would qualify them under like the degenerate type vibe. Like they're just seeking pleasure and funny stuff like that. But then they're also performing as well. For who, I don't know. And they're protecting some black library, I guess. It's kind of interesting. I wish you would talk more about them.
Harlequins, Drukhari, Eldar, they are an anomaly that make humans seem completely easy to understand in comparison. They range from rekindling their civilization to horrifying murder and also clowns. They're all over the place, but honestly, they represent quite well and are rather interesting, especially with the whole Slaanesh murdering everyone bit. So, yeah, Eldar.
Wow.
Now, bugs.
Oh yeah, my last question would be, how did they escape Slaanesh? He didn't really go into detail on how the clowns escaped him. I guess they were just floating out way farther than her birthing place.
Mom, they following me, Mom.
Or maybe they just laughed whenever she got birthed. They're like, haha, and then just completely avoided them.
They're following me. The bugs.
The bugs.
The Tyranids. Now, you want to talk something a lot more fun, a little more simple than all this crazy Eldar shenanigans?
Yeah, sure.
Let's talk the Tyranids. They're bugs. Do they look like Zerg? Hell yeah, they look like Zerg. You want to know why they look like Zerg? Because they were actually supposed to be what Zerg were. Apparently StarCraft was supposed to be a 40k game in the beginning, hence why they look so much like Eldar.
Wait, what? What is Zerg? StarCraft? Is that a video game? Also, is this apple juice and grape? She drank apple juice and grape. That's so cute.
Zerg and the Imperium of Man, like kind of Space Marine-y. Those Marines, huh? They look a little bit Space Marine-y to me.
Oh, they do
Maybe.
look similar.
I don't know. You really fucked up on that one, Games Workshop, didn't ya? Tyranids are a giant infestation of unfathomable proportions. These are giant, extremely bio-advanced hive mind organisms that are basically all about absorbing as much biomass as they possibly can to evolve and mutate to be extremely potent and powerful and kill and eat anything in their path. They are probably...
Okay, so they're essentially just like a virus. Like a little virus. Or, yeah, an infestation. Something like that. Yeah, that's pretty simple. It doesn't seem like they have any other purpose. They're little bed buggies.
The least evil faction in all of 40k because all they want to do is eat shit. They want to om nom nom the entire galaxy. They hangry and we food. Also, this Tyranid hive mind has a presence in the warp. In fact, Tyranids in their own right have a massive presence in the warp. They have a thing called the shadow in the warp specifically, where when they are coming in to invade a planet, they have this weird ability to kind of cut off the warp on all the psychers on that
What is happening to this poor guy? He's got like the pink lightning and then you got the buggies jumping in, I guess? But hypothetically in his mind?
And how do you get help across the stars? Well, you need the warp because you need that for interstellar travel. So with people unable to call for help from the Tyranids, these are just easy pickings. And an entire giant Tyranid hive fleet comes out of orbit and just will massacre, absorbing all that biomass and turning them and all of their other Tyranids into even more advanced monsters. They come in so many varieties too, all based on what is important. Tiny little ripper swarms for scouting and having little dudes eat people up, to the Hormigons, Termagants, and Gene Stealers, all the way to the Hive Guard and the X.
What are they doing with my jeans? Give them back. I know, just wear skirts or shorts. They won't be able to take them.
Exocrines and the Swarm Lord, to Hive Tyrants and their giant battle fleets, and even something as crazy as the Hierophant Bio Titan. The Tyranids come in all forms and sizes depending on what they require. They are extremely good at anti-biological weaponry. There is no way you can plague them or blight them. They have extremely strong armor, carapaces and such. Tyranids are nigh perfect organisms and are pretty spooky when it comes down to how they handle all of their genetic material.
Wait, so they're smart? They're smart buggies? I was about to say, that would be kind of lame if you're just like, you know, flying through the warp and whatnot, and then you get invaded by the bugs, and then they eat you. Wouldn't that be like kind of lame rather than going out into the glory of battle? But now I'm starting to realize that they might be smart and they're like planning things out and they're part of the battle. They're not necessarily like a separate entity like he's making them out to be.
Keep feeding them, they'll keep evolving. They keep on creating new horrifying organisms to spread across the galaxy. And you want to know what the most terrifying part of the Tyranids is?
What?
We might be surrounded. There have been like around 6 or 7 Tyranid hive fleets. Behemoth, Kronos, all these different kinds of hive fleets. And they've all arrived in the galaxy from different points. Different sections of the Milky Way galaxy have had different Tyranids come through.
Okay, so where do they hang out? It'd be one thing if they could shapeshift, but it seems like maybe they hang out in the shadow, perhaps? Also, yeah, it is very interesting that it is a hive mind as well, so it's just essentially one guy hanging out, and he's like, oh yeah, I'll just take everybody.
And that is horrifying, because as far as we know, we could just be surrounded on all sides by Tyranids. The only reason you may not hear a whole lot about Tyranids is because it's a little bit hard to have a bunch of story off of one hive mind genocidal monsters. All these giant bugs swarming in, killing and eating everybody and evolving. Oh, I mean, as cool as there are some cool characters, the Swarm Lord, Old One Eye, you can't really have a whole bunch of major character-based stories around them.
Oh yeah,
as
you're right.
awesome as they are, they're simple. They want to eat you. They want to eat you and absorb your biomass. They are simple bugs. If you want,
you know, I really like that one episode of Rick and Morty where he dated a hive mind, and the hive mind just like took over humans, and he would just hang out with them through the different humans. That's kind of the vibe I get here, so maybe they can make a story like that.
It's like a little more complex. Talk Gene Stealer cults.
I can have all the pot I want. I
Gene
get around
Stealer
faster than walking,
cults?
and wherever I need a seat, I can just sit on my balls.
What the
Gene
heck?
Stealer cults are a special brand of Tyranid that can slowly infect.
Why are they bald? If they're gene stealers, maybe you can steal some genes with some hair. What the heck?
Themselves into different kinds of society, and by infecting them, they can rise up to where they all pray and believe in these regular humans, pray and believe into their Tyranid hive mind gods. And these brood lords, and I think they're called patriarchs, all can turn an entire world all based into gene stealers. And these are called gene stealer cults. An entire hive world of the Imperium can be turned into nothing but servants to the Tyranid masters just by infecting them and screwing with their genetic code a little bit.
What? That's messed up. And they make you bald? That would make me so mad. If someone messed with my genetic code, why can't you just give me like big boobs and a juicy butt? Instead, you make me bald and like a killing machine. They have their priorities crazy weird. Stop making me bald.
They also have this cool like Mad Max look which is really neat. They are definitely one of the bigger threats to the Imperium besides Chaos. I keep saying biggest threat to the Imperium. They're up there though, because you, dingus, stepped on a bug in middle school. Asshole. There is a cancer.
One time I ate, what do you mean a cancer? One time I ate an ant and it tasted like chicken. It tasted like a live ant when I was a kid. I got dared to do it. So maybe that's why they're coming to get us.
Eating at the Imperium. With each decade, it advances deeper, leaving drained, dead worlds in its wake. This horror, this abomination, has thought and purpose that functions on an unimaginable galactic scale.
Wow.
And all we can do is to try to stop the swarms of bioengineered monsters it unleashes upon us by instinct. We have given the horror a name to salvage our fears. We call it the Tyrannid race. But if it is aware of us, it must know us as nothing but prey.
Wow.
They're cool. But are they as cool as the orcs?
Chills. Okay, we're about to talk about the orcs. Is that his favorite?
Every screen's gone red. That means I'm super fast.
Whoa.
Orcs. Fucking love orcs. So, yes, the green monsters, the green tide, the green skins. These orcs, they are in fact a race in 40K. The orcs are as exactly what you expect them. They have archaic weapons, they're big boys, they have axes, and they have got big old teeth, and they want to kill everything, and there are so many of them.
Oh my god, I think I saw a movie about them. It started in a swamp, and this guy opened a door to an outhouse, and then something started playing in the background, and it went, somebody once told me. I think that was an orc, right?
The only reason they haven't taken over the entire galaxy is they can't stop murdering each other. Orcs are so cool. Orcs don't have philosophy. Orcs don't have existential crisis. What matters is who's the biggest.
Is this one the pirate orc? Wait, that's kind of cool. He's like a little pirate.
Orc. You listen to that guy because he the biggest orc. He big orc. Big orc knows best.
Okay.
You win through the power of imagination. Of all the races I have battled throughout the galaxy, the orc is the hardest to comprehend. They wage war with machines that should not work, care little for strategic gains, and are just as likely to slaughter each other as the enemy. How does one battle an enemy that defies all logic?
That makes me wonder if the orcs are part of that one chaos group that is red. The one that just thinks like, oh, bigger is better and trial by combat type vibe.
As an orc, you're enjoying life. You're enjoying the life you're given. Your whole life and job and purpose is to get up and beat each other to death because you can.
Wow.
The biggest orc is the man who understands everything. He is the boss. And orcs have this really weird, like, big, dumb, stereotype British accent, which is just hilarious.
They're
to me.
himbos.
Those are orcs. You fight. You like to fight. Your whole purpose is to fight. You wage war because you want to wage war. You got your boss over there, and you better listen to the boss, because if you don't listen to the boss will squish you and make you an example for the other orcs. And then you can't fight because orc dead. And orc dead can't fight because orc dead. Orcs, they.
What the heck? How are they not extinct? It seems like they don't know how to do anything right. What the
Wrap together machines out of parts that don't make any sense, and because they believe, they have the mental imagination.
Oh my gosh, they're delusional. They literally manifest everything because they're so delusional. It just works out for them. That's kind of cute, actually. I like that.
If that machine will run, it'll run. If that machine's out of gas, you're driving that machine with your fellow orcs, and the biggest orc is behind the wheel, and you run out of gas, some orc behind you is like, oh, Zog, we're out of gas. And the big orc is like, no, we're not. I filled the fucking gas tank up earlier. And all the other orcs are like, oh yeah, you did do that. And then you turn the fucking mech back on, and it works again. Does it have gas? Probably not.
It's delusion! Oh my god! Holy crap! This is literally what manifestation is like. Oh, wow. Okay, now all I want to do is be a himbo orc in Warhammer 40K. That's how I want to live my life.
But it works. The power of imagination. They paint things red because it makes them think they goes faster. They paint things purple because it's the sneakiest color. You want to know why? You ever seen a purple orc? Didn't fucking think so.
Oh,
Orcs
true?
are also like ancient as hell. They're back in the Eldari time frame. But back then they were called Krorks, and they were much larger and scarier and far more intelligent. Now they're just orcs, and they're big, dumb, and they smack things. But they're pretty spooky. They're not very well.
To be honest, it feels like they're smarter than all the other ones. Everyone's trying to be sneaky and technologically advanced. Or you could just be orc and be like, okay, I'm big bad orc. I hit you, I kill you. I shoot with a gun, no bullet. There is bullet, I know there's bullet. Like, they're taking advantage of a world that seems to have no laws and no rules. So why don't they shift the reality to what works in their favor? That is so cool. I love orc.
Armored, but they hit really hard.
I need more bullets.
And it's called the Green Tide because there are so many orcs. There are about as many orcs as there are Tyranids. Maybe more. Who knows? But they keep on, murdering each other, so it's not too bad of an issue. Orcs are entirely comic relief. Their stuff is slapped together that makes no sense. Their vehicles don't work the way they're supposed to, but they work because they think it works, because they imagine that it works. Orcs care only about who is the biggest orc, and
this animation is cool. This is like such a cool animation. There's so much art behind all of these factions.
The biggest orc, and then if they want to be the biggest orc, they'll challenge the biggest orc. And then when they go and they issue a wa is just war in orc, they murder.
A wa? Do you want to have a wa? What does that mean? War? That is so funny.
Everybody and everything in this giant tide of green orcs who are just excited to be hitting something. They don't care that they're hitting Eldar or the Imperium or Tau or anyone in between. They're just so they get to beat shit up.
Yay!
That's orcs. And on the tabletop, they are a total coin flip, and they're really fun. I have never met a salty orc player. I have never met someone who plays orcs and is ever just a bad guy. Or
I want him to spill the tea in the drama and what factions that people play can tell about their character in real life. Like, there's gotta be a faction someone plays because they're like a super mega tryhard, and they'd be super salty if they if they lost in the game.
That guy. Orc players have this kind of fun to them because when you play them, you are completely submitting yourself to RNG. So here's the thing. Guardsmen, Imperial Guardsmen.
I love gambling.
When they shoot, they roll a dice, and on a 4 up, they'll hit their target. They have a 50% chance.
Okay.
Space Marines, pretty good. They hit on a 3 or higher because they're well trained. Adeptus Custodians, they hit on 2s because they're just super well trained. Orcs, they hit on a 5 or higher. But if they roll a 6, they get to make another shot with anything, from the dinkiest pistol to the biggest rocket launcher. It doesn't matter. Half of their stuff will blow up on a whim. One of their medics, if you roll a 1 to heal someone, you fuck up your surgery and you just kill an orc. They're so wacky and silly. But the thing is if you roll well, you roll high, and you keep rolling high, you are going to crush people. And if you don't, you lose. I mean, that's what you get when you play orcs.
Yeah, true.
That's what happens when you play orc. It's a coin.
That is so goofy. So you just have to roll high. I'm gonna play orcs with a loaded die. I'm gonna hit 6s back to back to back.
Flip. Which is why you can't be a salty bitch when you play orcs, because things won't go your way.
Oh my god.
It's just the roll of the dice. You're playing a dice game. But if you're gonna have fun, and you want to be stupid, and you want to be silly, you're gonna play some damn orcs.
I love being silly.
But on the opposite side of the fun part of this, let's talk about the...
Boo! I want to keep it fun. Oh, now we have to go back to boring legions that take themselves way too seriously.
Necrons.
The Necrons.
The Necrons are spooky, scary skeletons and very grimdark again. They have a much more fleshed out lore than before. Back in the day, they were just undead Egyptian space terminators. And they still look that way, but now they actually have a story. So way back in the day, you had the Necron tier. Kind of see a theme here: Eldari, Eldar, Krork, Orc, Necron, Necron tier. So Necron tier were this race of generally kind of shitty people. Not because they were personally shitty, because their lives were awful. They were ill-fated to a horrible existence of like radiation and
Yeah, you and everybody else, whatever, man. Aw, that can't be the excuse. If everyone's life is bad, you can't just be a bad guy. Because literally everyone's life is bad.
a terrible planet they lived on, and everything just really sucked. Being a Necron-tier was just really depressing. They really were looking for immortality. They were extremely reliant on the hope that they would eventually find the key to living forever and just stave off this horrible nature that they were thrust upon them, and therefore they could become the most dominant race in the galaxy.
Okay.
And they found this group. They're called the Old Ones. Imagine them kind of like the Forerunners in Halo or the Xel'Naga in StarCraft, right?
I don't know either of those. What is this nerd culture referencing, cross-referencing? These people look crazy though. I like her hair is like literally metal.
These Old Ones were these strong, pretty much omnipotent beings. And they, of course, knew the key to immortality. So the Necrons went to them and said, please, show us your way.
Please, 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 please let us live forever so that way we can be spooky, scary skeletons. Shivers down my spine.
Please, 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 please.
That's them for real.
And the Old Ones said, piss off.
Please, please, please,
Not
please,
really.
please.
They were a lot more humble about it, but they did not want to share their secret of immortality
Valid.
with the Necrons. The Necrons, of course, took this very well
Oh.
and waged war with them.
Oh
Kind of under
my god. Oh my god. There are the kids at the playground that ask to play with your toy, and when you say no, they say okay, and they decide to have a multi-year like grudge against you until high school.
this united banner. The Necron different dynasties didn't really like each other, but under this one man, the Silent King, he thought the best way to unite his race was to do this.
I just realized his feet were the little skeleton feet. Also, the Silent King, amen. That's how every king should be. Silent. Let the queen speak.
Giant war with the Old Ones out of spite for them keeping the secret of immortality to them. This was known as the War in Heaven, and this is actually like a multi-stage war. Because during this war in heaven, they discovered the Star Gods, a whole new race of people known as the Catan, or the Catan. These Star Gods were also very much like Old Ones, almost omnipotent beings, and they too had the key to immortality. And so the Necrons went to them and said, hey, can you help us fight off the Old Ones? Can you help us kill these Old Ones? You, the Catan. And the Catan said yes. And in fact, we can help provide you with the immortality you so desperately seek. So the
What? Wait, the freaking Catan pulled through for them. I wonder why. Also, I love that these Necrons, they're not even like participating in the other, you know, war that all the Space Marines are going through. They're just like, you know what, we're gonna do a side quest to get immortality before we like really engage with all you guys.
Silent King of the Necrons decided to make a pact with the Catan to allow them to accept this generous gift of immortality upon them. But this, of course, had been a horrendous trap, and the Necrons were dragged in chains to this biotransference where their flesh was stripped from them, replaced with nothing but a metal hollow shell, as their souls were ripped from their body and fed to the Catan. And the Catan,
Who saw that coming? Wow, the Catan being like, yeah man, we'll totally give you immortality. You know, I thought it was a trap, but I didn't want to, you know, I wanted to believe in the greater good, which is failing me every single time in this universe. Also, so this is why they become skeleton? Because they trusted the Catan? What did they look like before skeleton? Did they look like normal?
Catan fattened up. They got chonk on the souls of the Necrons. As this was their plan all along, they consumed the flesh and souls of the Necron tier and turned them all into unwilling robotic slaves just to serve their will. And then with their newfounded Necron army, they pointed their guns at the Old Ones, and the Catan continued their domination of the stars. And their
but they got what they wanted. Immortality, but at what cost?
genocide, complete and full genocide of these old ones.
Wow.
The old ones did their best to stave it off. They even created other races, the Eldari and the Orcs, to try to fight off the horrifying Necron army and the Catan above them. But there was absolutely no possible chance for them. And the old ones were absolutely extinguished across the galaxy. Their entire race completely removed. Full on 100% genocide. However, during all this, the Catan
Do you really think there's a full genocide? Because sometimes in this series, I've noticed there are people that get away and they become hidden and they're not necessarily fully gone, but they are mostly wiped out. But he's saying like 100% of them are gone, which is interesting. It seems very rare that happens in this universe.
Infatuated with their victory, started fighting each other for fun, for sport, and for small differences, doesn't matter. The Catan,
just like us.
These overpowered people, they're going to eventually hit each other at some point. And as they began just menially fighting each other, the Eldari and the Orcs actually started pushing on the Catan's borders a little bit, giving them a little bit of a run for their money. And as this continued, this is when the Silent King, who retained his consciousness, decided to leap into action and start a full-scale...
Wait, how did he retain his consciousness from the Catan? Whoa, that guy is crazy. He's probably got like a crazy, like mentally fortitude, like fortress in his mind.
Revolt against their Catan masters. And this revolt was bloody, as the entire Necron army was surged off to destroy these star gods. They were able to, just after suffering horrendous losses, were able to turn the tide of the war. And they took these Catan and they blasted them. Because as these star gods are unkillable, they were able to break them into thousands of shards and entrap them in giant stasis vaults to now actually be slaves to the Necrons. And
what? How the turns have tabled. How the tables have turned. They're just That's so funny. They're just taking turns playing like slave and owner, essentially. They're like, oh, now it's our turn. Like, you guys get in the little cages.
With the Necrons having the entirety of their old gods enslaved to them, they realized that soon their race was about to be attacked by the overcoming new races, the Eldari and the Krorks. And so what they did is they retreated into giant stasis tombs in order to preserve their energy and their strength for when one day they would be reawakened and they would be able to rule the galaxy.
I wonder if they have TikTok in their tombs. I feel like staying in a tomb wouldn't be that bad. You just get to sleep and hang out.
Was rightfully theirs. And then some dingus Adeptus Mechanicus guy diddled with a green console, and now the Necrons are back and they see all these primitive races on their lawns.
This idiot. He's literally the guy that pulls the lever. Don't push that button. You mean this button? Pushes it. Unleashes death and destruction, literally opening Pandora's box. Oh my gosh, I bet everybody hated that guy.
And they think, get the fuck off of it. The Necrons are back, super advanced, and they are here to reclaim the galaxy that they so rightfully believe is theirs.
Nice.
Now, the tabletop, they're all like that.
Whoa! Okay, that is a sick machine. Oh my god, it looks like a cool spider. Yeah, it's got 6 legs. That is so cool. Oh my goodness. Wow.
Tons of undead Egyptian skeleton robots that when they die, they just get right back up because they keep on reanimating. Hard to kill, tons of crazy stuff. You can use the Catan themselves.
Whoa! They actually have a tabletop version of this figure? Dude, oh my god, I just want to collect the figures. I don't even want to play the tabletop. It would just be so fun to collect and paint and put together the figures and then display it.
As units to fight with. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I wonder how many dollars that was. I want to say, if I had to guess, it'd probably be like $300.
Necrons are one of the 3 major events in 40K. The Horus Heresy, the Fall of the Eldar, and the Awakening of the Necrons are all pretty substantial events. And the Necrons themselves are pretty dang cool as well. Here's a good quote from a wonderful Dawn of War game. Lucky creatures, as long last you have found the tranquility of death. I was like you once, clinging to life and blind to the truth. When I uncovered the truth, I too shuddered and paled with fear. Deep in these catacombs, I was remade. Here, my brethren slumbered for eons while the living grew like weed. My Lord knew this day would come. He had plans for us all. We would purge this world once more. So come, poor victims of life. We will grant you tranquility in these crypts. Kronos will be a tomb world once more.
Oh my god, it's literally Spooky Scary Skeleton faction. That is so cute. Also, they got exactly what they wanted, is immortality. But they just got it at the cost of their mortality. Like, their flesh and bone. Or, I guess, just their flesh and tendons. They clearly still have their bones.
Necrons are also pretty smug. Trey's in the Infinite especially. A little dickhead.
Oh.
But speaking of dickheads, last race. Let's talk the Tau.
The Tau Empire.
The exact formation of the Tau
What the heck? He's got anime girl legs.
Empire is not entirely understood. However, a long time ago, many thousands of years ago, in the 40K world that is, some Imperial navigation vessels were going around through different areas, and they saw a primitive race, blue people, smacking each other with sticks and stones. They thought, nah. Dumb Xenos race, who gives a shit, and they bailed. Then this giant warp storm occurred.
Oh my gosh, his legs are distracting me. The anime girl.
Right in that major area, unable to be breached. Then, once that warp storm 6,000 years later subsided, hello, those little sticks. Well, they decided to actually have no war of any kind and all just unite together under one flag of the Tau Empire. And now they have gigantic starships and Gundam robots and lasers and railguns and mechs. And they're here to ruin your day for the greater good. That is generally the Tau Empire. They have this kind of feeling of this homogenous group. All species can go underneath the banner of the
Wait, so they're communists? I knew it, those freaking communists.
Greater good. The greater good is their idea of the fundamental increase and help of all. In fact, they are most likely the most like the Covenant in Halo, where they have the overarching prophets, being the ethereals, who are actually kind of dicks and like to...
Is that Halo? Damn, I didn't know Halo had like a bunch of lore. This is so interesting. And it crosses over with Warhammer.
Yes.
I wonder if Halo was made after Warhammer, or if Warhammer was made after Halo. And if so, did any draw any inspiration from each other?
Pull at strings a little bit, but then you have all these different races directly underneath them, and they all work together in this big group as this large, foreboding race that tries to spread their weirdly pseudo-religious influence across the galaxy.
Yes.
The alien is not intrinsically evil. Do not hate him. Pity him, his ignorance. Seek to understand his differences and equate him with his inadequacies. Only then will he accept his place in the greater good. That is generally the Tau. And if you're kind of wondering like what their mainly big shtick is, well, they're all about big robots and mechs. They have laser rifles and rail guns. They got giant mechs with tons of missile pods and heavy rail rifles and rail guns.
I guess you go, yeah, I mean, all these other factions he was talking about, they kind of, you know, work together in some ways, but in a lot of ways they work against each other because they're just killing each other and stuff. But these people, they seem like they genuinely want to work together as a unit. And they believe in that, and I could see how their technology will advance a lot quicker than some of the others.
And burst cannons and ion accelerators and void shields and all this stuff. And that is generally what the Tau's all about.
I also like that they're blue. They're blue, and they got funny like earmuffs, and they're bald. Well, I guess this guy's not bald.
But you're probably thinking, Bricky, this doesn't sound that evil. This doesn't sound very grim, dark Warhammer.
Did he say evil or e-girl?
You'd be right. The Tau Empire really don't have that much of a horrifying, grim, dark style like everybody else. They're much more younger, new age thing. In fact, they're probably a lot less evil and a lot even better than they are now back in the day, because they liked having like that good guy faction. But a lot of us who really like the dark, depressing style of Warhammer didn't really like it that much. So, see, the Tau get a lot of hate, and a lot of that hate isn't necessarily unjustified. It's mainly from a tabletop perspective, but as you can see from all the visuals I've shown you recently,
There's a lot of white. There's not a lot of other colors. There's some red, like tiny bits of blue, some bronze, but a lot of white.
they don't really fit in the 40K universe very well. They lack that super dark, dramatic, kind of high gothic level the Imperium has. They don't have the weird kind of like grungy stuff that Chaos or say the Orcs do. And the Necrons and the Eldar have their own specific style as well. The Tau really do look like something out of Gundam. And while it isn't necessarily a bad thing, it does definitely not fit too well.
Yeah.
There's that. There's also the tabletop problem. In tabletop, Tau are horrible at melee combat, but exceptionally good at range combat. So they blast everyone from really, really far away, and they have a million rules to make it so that it's nearly impossible for you to get into melee combat. So it basically just forces you to bottleneck the game.
Wait, so they're literally just a faction full of snipers? Oh man, I can see how that gets on people's nerves.
To one specific gameplay style, which is gun to gun. And if you're doing gun to gun, they're going to win every time because they're the Tau, and the Tau are really damn good at shooting. So it's one of those things that make the Tau generally rather hated, and a lot of different reasons for that, both from style and such. But this is actually one of the things I wanted to end this video with, is that the Tau, while they have their issues, you should not be discouraged from playing them. I'll make plenty of Tau weeaboo jokes, of course I will, but it's all generally in good fun. Anyone who legitimately doesn't want you to play a faction is an idiot, and you shouldn't be giving them the time of day. You pick what you think is cool and what you like. In Warhammer,
that is so cute. He's trying to break past the like gatekeeping of Warhammer. He's just like, play what you want. It's just a sorry, I was about to say it's just a video game. It's just a tabletop game.
Now factions get better and they get worse, they grow and then they fall. You should only be playing what you think is cool. You like the look, you like the models. If you're talking tabletop, that is what you should be going for every time, is what you think is badass, because things change all the time. But the universe of Warhammer has so much going for it. Every faction has something interesting, every character has a story, and there's a million stories to be told. The universe is vast and exciting, and while it is dark, depressing, and horrible, that is the damn charm. And out of everything I've told you in these two videos, is anything you can take away is the reason why so many of us are so into this series and why we like it so much. Because with so much variety, such an expansive universe, and so much that can be done, you can find yourself having a pretty great time. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope it has been informative to you.
That is so cute! Yeah, I didn't know anything about Warhammer, but I totally get the appeal now. There's definitely something for everyone. Like, it just varies greatly in a bunch of different interests. Like, I definitely love the orcs. I definitely love the green space marines that are nice to kitty cats and children. And then I really like the harlequins. Oh my gosh, they are so cute, and they don't make any sense, but it's awesome.
If you'd like to see more of me, Bricky, we have twitch.tv/Bricky for my
Wait, he
streams.
streams on Twitch? Oh my gosh, I gotta check him out.
You have my merchandise site, in which I was wearing all of my merch, but underneath this, because I had to wear this so it wasn't black or white for the green screen, which is a little unfortunate, but it's fine. If you'd like to see merch, it is in the description. Also, if you'd like to support me on my Patreon page at patreon.com/Bricky for more videos like this, then that would also be wonderful. So Twitch, merch, Patreon, anything if you want to support, that would be fantastic. I'd
That's
appreciate
awesome.
it. If not, I'm just stoked you got all the way to the end of the video, and that is enough for me.
Thank
so,
you.
I'm going to be having some more content like this out in the future. Thank you so much for sticking around this long and being with me through this pretty rough time.
Thank you for making a video like this for people like me that have nothing to do, and there is no way I was going to learn about Warhammer any other way. Like, people have tried to explain it to me in the past, but I feel like he did such a good job explaining it and making it like super entertaining, and like even though this is an hour-long video and the other one is like an hour long, it's still like, I don't know, he just makes it so easy to digest.
That's I think all I got. Also, before I go, let me leave you with my favorite Warhammer quote.
What?
He who scoffs at the power of the las gun has never ran through a field of 1,000 of them. Bye-bye.
Amen. Wait, the las gun, that's the one with the blue guys.
Bye-bye.
The blue Space Marines, they're just like regular humans and they have a bunch of las
Bye-bye.
guns. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong. Yippee! What a wonderful freaking video! We've made it through the entirety of the 40k Warhammer Factions Explained. Yippee! Thank you so much for watching this epic react video. I really enjoyed learning more and more about Warhammer. Leave a comment down below if you want me to react to another Bricky video or another Warhammer lore. I'm super interested, especially with the factions that I named before, like the Harley Clans and the Ogres and whatnot.
YouTube.
I'll leave a playlist for you on the left of all the Bricky videos if you haven't seen the other ones. And you can subscribe, pretty please. It would mean the world to me. I'm almost at 10k. And I stream on twitch.tv/KaimaniClowny to see these live and to see me play video game. I also am starting to do ASMR over there. So if you like it, come say hi.
Bye-bye.
Until next time, I will see you later. Bye-bye.